So I chose this video of Crispy, right?
Instagram Reels Bingo. We're back doing this challenge again, but this time I have to mark off the entire board.
It was a video he had made 7 months ago from the day of the recording, July 15th. So this edit I chose specifically because there's the most to do. When you're working with clients, they'll literally just like give you usually a rough outline of what they want. And since I'm recreating, I'm gonna try my best to like remake the assets from scratch. But I did make my version.
Instagram Reels Bingo.
I was trying to recreate the way he speaks, and honestly it was kind of, I want to try to get as close to it as possible without using him or his voiceover. All right, so it starts off with the editor dragging in some words. Instagram Reels Bingo is made like the TikTok like aesthetic with the blue and red lines. He has like a paper background and then anime emphasis, so it's just a matter of getting it. Paper background? Simple. Paper background, save it. If I'm doing a job, what I normally would do, I would try to get as many assets as I can as possible beforehand, so I don't have to keep downloading, going back, downloading, going back. Sometimes you will need to do that. It's not necessarily something that you're gonna avoid. It's just like how fast you do it. Going through an edit, usually what takes up a lot of time is stuff like this. Like, oh, I need an asset, I have to go find it. If you're trying to emphasize something in the edit and it's better with B-roll or music or something or sound effect, and you don't have that, you're gonna have to go search for it. And if you don't have money in the beginning, a lot of editors on YouTube do, you gotta find the free stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the audio so it matches up as best as possible. In order for me to L and J cut really smoothly, what I do is I'll do Command A, it'll automatically select everything, and then I do Control S, it will extend the audio. So if I do it, it'll close it back up, and then if I Control S, it'll open it up, and then I can do this.
Instagram Reels Bingo. We're back.
See, so then it sounds smooth instead of having it like this.
Instagram Reels Bingo. We're back.
You see how there's like a cutoff and it sounds weird? So just having the J and L cut, making it feel like it's a full sentence, because all of this I did do in parts, because obviously I wasn't speaking, it wasn't like my regular cadence. I was trying to sound like him just for the video. When doing this, I cut it up into parts because a lot of it is just like animation, a lot of like B-roll and stuff. So I had the liberty to do that. But I also knew a lot of stuff could be saved in the edit. Not everything, sometimes an edit will get messed up if you don't do the pre-production, you don't do the recording properly. But in cases like this where there's a lot of B-roll, there's a lot of animation, there's a lot of moving parts, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. He did have an Instagram Reels Bingo made. I'm pretty sure I can make it. The logo, I have to get the logo. That's easy enough. I'm pretty sure we can just Instagram logo. I would have to go into Photoshop to then cut this out. If I have like a logo like this, something simple that you need fast and you want to just do it really quick, really simple, I think it's like the mask tool or whatever, and I drop down, I go to cloud detailed results to double check if I want to make sure the lines are super clean. I'll go to select mask on the top. Honestly, it was already fine, so I'll do Command J and then it'll just paste on whatever the selection was. So then I'll just go to export. You see how there's a little whiteness on it? That's not the best thing in the world. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, just because it's on a white background, so you're not going to notice it as much. He has like a blue and red version, so this is something I do sometimes if I want to get the color exactly right. Command Shift 4 and then it'll select, and I'll do this, go to Photoshop, and then boom. See, now I can double click, go to color overlay, and then I can just select, and I have the exact color. I have one version with the blue and one version with the red, and then I'm gonna export both of them. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag the black one on top, the red one slightly bottom to the right like that, and then this one slightly up. And then what I do is I'll select all of it. I'll do Option G. So I have the compound clip now, and I can just, you know, make it whatever I need, and then boom, right there. But it's all connected, so I might have to do it with the Instagram thing. Yeah, and then this, I'm gonna just save it to thing. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing that I did with the logo. If you want something to have the same ratio, you see how I move the A, and the A is slightly to the side and it has a certain size. Instead of like actively copying, Command C, going here, double clicking, Command V, and then doing that each and every time with each and every position, what I do, you just Command C on what you want to copy, and then click over, and then Option Command V, and it'll copy exactly what you want. or you can press Shift Command V and then you can select what you want to copy. This has saved me so much time you would not believe. So now all I gotta do is, because of the same size, I move it around a little bit. I move this logo on top. I'll adjust it a little bit, and now it's the same exact thing as what we had, or is what Crispy had. So in order for it all to animate together, the logo and the Instagram were all one. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to then position it in the center, just because there's a reason for that when it comes to animating in Final Cut specifically. I don't know how to do it anywhere else. Now when I animate it, it's gonna all be centered, because if, let's say I did both of this, we move it up and move this up, right? And then I do Command G and I do compound clip. Now you see how it's not in the center? When it animates, it's gonna animate around it like that, instead of it being in the center. Depending on how you make the compound clip, it depends on how it's gonna be moved. So you have to be careful with that and how you want things to be animated. Since this is gonna be up top here, I'm gonna just leave that there. And since Instagram Reels Bingo, I do Control T so I can get the text. The kind of text he uses, it's very thick. There is one text that I like using personally, which is this. Is it similar? It's similar enough, right? Yeah, I think it's the same thing actually. The fill color, I can have it, boom, take this. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make 3 different versions of the text. Because this is going to be layered, let me be smart about this. Let me actually save. You can actually drag and drop and have that color always be there. So now I have both of those colors and I don't have to actively like look for it again. I can just save it, boom, and the next time I need it, it's there. So then what we're gonna do is gonna have O for both of these, and this, I think it was about this size. Boom. That's it. It's super simple. Honestly, stuff like this, sometimes you're gonna need to make assets. It's not an asset you can find online. Sometimes this stuff is made specifically for that video. You know, your clients want a certain kind of style. So recreating this from scratch without using any of the assets, this is probably what you're gonna have to do. It's a process that you don't want to keep doing every single time. When you're working with a client, you want to have the same assets, because for my day job, I do podcasts and we have assets that we use constantly. So all I gotta do is drag and drop. It's formulaic, it's easy, it becomes consistent. Honestly, for clients, you want consistency, because to a certain point, if you're working with them long enough, they're gonna expect you to be faster. It's digital media, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. People want things fast, so you're gonna have to adapt quickly. And if you're always making things from scratch, it's not the best. Granted, you should know how to do this. You should know how to make things from scratch, but you don't want to always have to do it, because then it makes you slower. It makes people not want to work with you, because they know like, oh, he's gonna take a long ass time, because they don't care. They just want the result. But this is obviously just to show that you can do it. It is possible. What I'm gonna do now, compound all of this, and then with the reels, we're gonna do the same thing. I think that's all the assets for the first part. All right, so when he says Instagram Reels Bingo, obviously the animations come in when he says. So then what I'm gonna do is I use this for my animations. I use another animation tool called Add Motion. It gives you a lot of flexibility, but also right now I do like using Easy Ease, because it's a really good plugin. It's like 50 bucks. I ain't gonna lie, it's expensive. So that's something that I gotta deal with, and other people that edit on Final Cut deal with. But honestly, this alleviates a lot of the problems. I'm gonna go on a little tangent. People that look for editors and like, oh, you have to edit on this, unless it's for a specific reason. If it's for an outcome, let's say you have a Mr. Beast video, right? You're having like fucking 70,000 camera angles, a bunch of different stuff happening, and you need all of that to be uniform. Yo, dude, the multicam editing on this, on Final Cut, is elite. It's so good. Final Cut doesn't get the respect it deserves, bro. I'm saying it right now. Final Cut's coming back. Right now, I'm gonna do Instagram. It was, let me see. It was very linear how he did it. It did slow in a little bit. I do like a smoother fall in, so I'm gonna do cubic ease out, and then we're gonna set the parameters. I actually like having it a little blurry just because it gives it motion. When you have something moving, there's gonna be a little bit of motion blur. With text, you kind of don't want that, because you want to be able to read it, but because it does stay on the frame for so long, it does make it a little more dynamic. I think this is fine for now, and we're gonna just do the same thing for the rest of them. All right, cool. So with the beginning, his thing is
Instagram Reels Bingo.
All right, so there's a slight zoom in, and obviously I think the back is animating a little bit. So then what I'm gonna do is a scale marker. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have all of this cut off here, because none of this now is useful. Actually, am I on proxies? I'm not on proxies. If you don't edit on proxies, no matter how strong your computer is, it'll slow your shit down. Make sure you edit on proxies. I'll right click and I'll do transcode media. That's how you get proxies. If you don't already have proxies, that's how you do it. So what's happening is he's getting a slight zoom in, he's getting the anime effect, and he has drop shadow on all of these. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go into drop shadow. We're gonna position it well, cool. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy, and then I'm gonna do Command Shift V, And then I'm gonna just leave the drop shadow because the drop shadow is all we need. All of them should have the exact same thing. So instead of actively putting it, making exactly the same, all you gotta do is copy, paste, and it's clean. I think the zoom in is gonna be kind of easy. So we're gonna just drag it in a little bit, like 2 maybe. Perfect, awesome, amazing. Now, what we need is the animate emphasis. I'm pretty sure I have this. Yeah, right there, all right, cool. Yeah, his was clean as fuck. All right, look, I don't know if you're noticing that, but his has like a slight like drop shadow. I didn't see and I don't have in mind because this one I added from YouTube, I ain't gonna be lying to you. Then what I'm gonna do is actually, I'm gonna go drop shadow. I'm gonna add it to this. I'm going to adjust it so it's like all lined up, but then I'm gonna blur it a bit. This is something that I had to do because obviously I don't have his background. See how his background is stationary, it's simple. I had to actively go into Photoshop. There was a video that he had, right? I took 2 versions of him. I had a version of him with it and him without it. Because the video that I took it from was slowly zooming in, center both of them together, and then on one portion, take him out, right here, and then match them up together, and it looks like his background but without him, and it makes it 1,000 times easier. So now it looks like I'm there. I have to fix my hat, but that's wow, that's actually kind of annoying. The next thing I wanted to do is actually adjust the keyer. I think it's the Luma. No, actually, Chrome. There you go. Even with me, like having 8 years of editing experience, editing for since like 2017, even I make mistakes. There's things you're gonna learn. With enough experience, you learn how to fix those problems faster. Cause like this was a simple issue. Now I know if the blacks are fading, oh, just pull up the chroma roll off. So it's just like little things that you only deal with here and there, but eventually they become like enveloped in your skill set. All right, I think for this, the audio is usually where I begin the edit. I only did this first part just because it was the first thing that was there, and the rest of it, I'm gonna just base off of the audio. So what I'm gonna do is now try to time it all the same with my voice. When you're doing an actual edit, you're gonna be more focused on the timing, the pacing, on what versions of what he says to use. And what I mean by that is if your client gives you 6 different intros, you're gonna want to use the one with the best inflections, the one with pulls in the audience more, because the way YouTube works, you want to give them the value of what they clicked on immediately. So whatever the title and the thumbnail is, that's the first thing you want to give them. And then by the end of the intro, you want to show them, oh, hey, there's going to be more at the end, so stay tuned, whatever. So they have a reason to stay all the way to the end. When going through an intro, his intro could have been done a little better, but also it is his video and how he wants to do it. So when you're working with a client, if they say, yo, I want it this way, that's it. Yo, my man, you're getting paid. But also as an editor, you have a lot of experience on what works and what doesn't work. If you're in YouTube, you have to understand what works for YouTube and for your specific audience. If you're doing a podcast, they're not gonna be the same viewers as people that are watching a gaming video, as the same people that are watching a tutorial video, or the same people that are watching a talking head video about makeup. All of those different kind of viewers have different expectations and respond differently. Even if it's not drastically, even slightly modifying your edit to what they want and how they expect to see and what they react to. All right, and I'm gonna just do this for the rest of it. Just basically Jane outcut all of it, so it's all timed up pretty well. So then when I go through the edit and I do all the animations and stuff, it all just makes sense. So this next chunk, and he starts off, we're back, and then you go to mark off. This is where the text happens. What I'm gonna do is cut this off. I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna right click, and then I'm gonna do transcribe captions. So then what transcription does, it allows me to have the captions that I need without me actually having to write it. I'm gonna try to recreate his captions. Usually when you're working with clients and working with the same assets again and again and again, what you want to do is save them or make presets so that you never have to remake it from scratch. This is something I had to learn with one of my first big clients. Is he was just like, yo, you making all this cool stuff, it's awesome, but why does it take you so long for the edit? And I'm like, oh, like I'm making everything. He was like, what do you mean? He was like, do you not have presets? I was like, what's a preset? And he was baffled because I basically like did an animation of like a FaceTime call, straight raw, like I was doing it myself. I didn't have a preset pack for stuff like that. So I had to basically make a FaceTime call, get all that stuff and move it and animate it all by myself. And he was like, yo, all this stuff is cool, but yo, bro, you're taking so long for the edit. You have to get presets. And that was a time where I wasn't making cash like that. Well, I was getting paid, obviously, but I was like, yo, I don't got money like that because, you know, I got to pay bills. Presets do save a lot of time. And honestly, now, like, if I have an issue, because I've been doing this for so long and now that I live alone and I make my own money, you could just buy a preset, a VFX, asset, music, whatever, buy it, implement it, and then you don't have to worry about it, and it takes literally no time, and eventually you end up making more money because of it. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna cut out every portion where it's just me speaking and it's just text. All right, with the text, I'm pretty much done. Now what comes is all the animating. So when it comes to speed, there's some assets that I'm gonna try to go out of my way and find. And if I can't find them, I'll use them, but I'll do my best not to use them just because I wanna show that this is possible, as in if you were just by yourself wanting to remake a video by this creator. Like for me, I'm doing this to show that one, I could do it, you know, so if people want to hire me, you know what I'm saying, email in the description. But also to show that it's not that hard to replicate a video that gets over 1 million views. This board, what I'm gonna do for this one, just because it would take me a god awful amount of time, I'm gonna just copy it just because it'll take too long. But if you were to do this by yourself, I'm gonna show you how. They say you wanted this exact thing, right? To make the actual shape, you'd get the M tool or moniker, whatever tool, the rectangular marquee tool, whatever. Shift, right click and drag. You make a perfect square shape. Then you would press Command J. You'll have the square. Once you have the square, what I would do is I'd make Command J again, I copy it, I'd do Command T. I'd then form it by holding Shift, and I'd get these little square lines, right? I'd then double click, go to color, go black, and then I would make these little assets. I would copy the line, move it up there again, and just keep doing that. And since this is all just the same thing, I would copy it. I would put Command G to put it in a group, then Command T to move it, and then I would hold Shift to be able to move it. Boom, it's a perfect square. Obviously, there's like little whatever, like these little divots. Obviously, you then clean them up. Now you have this. This works fine. To cut out these edges, that's easy enough. I'm gonna then group this all together again. I'm gonna say box. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press this. It's like a mask thing. I don't know what it's called because I'm on Mac. I do Control and Option, hold at the same time, left click and drag. You drag this left and right to make it bigger, smaller, up or down to make it smoother, rougher. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just clear out the edges. And now since that's clean, you can literally just write whatever you need to write. You go to text, boom, say, I don't know, become God. And that's how I would make the space. I would just take it, copy it, and once I copy it, just make my own. So then I don't have to do this again, and I can just put in new spaces like real, inspired me, whatever. If you want to do this from scratch, you can look on Google, get the images, paste them on. It's really not that hard. But for time sensitivity, because I already know how to do this, most of it is just text and then just images that you can find online easy. I'm not gonna do it from scratch because your boy's not gonna waste time with that. All I'm gonna do is export. I'm gonna just say board. Crispy board. For this part, he honestly just makes it yellow. Is there certain things that I like to add to make something pop a little more? And because just to kind of improve the edit and to make it a little like creamier, I don't know, it's not smoothness or smooth, I don't know. So basically I have a plugin. It's like a light plugin. Oh, light ray, there you go. It's like a light ray effect. Dumb strong by itself, right? But then you can bring it down, the intensity. I'm gonna now mark all of this stuff. I'll mark where I want the effect to activate, and then I'm gonna like just a little bit, just a little bit, and then I'm gonna then have it as if never happened, and then whong. It's like a little more glowy, I guess, and I like it. Granted, you don't have to do that. I did it because I wanted to. Then he goes into this part, basically his face just in the corner. I'm gonna take out the audio, then I'm gonna put this in a compound clip. Now what I'm gonna do is transform it to where he was, to kind of the same spot, and then I'm gonna crop it in. Obviously these are things that you're not gonna have to do, but if you were to do it, this was its own camera already, right? Make a preset. Let's say this was the category where you save it as Crispy Concord, regular edits, whatever, and I'll do bottom left edit, and then what's it called, face cam, and you save it, preset. But with the board itself, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this version, but I'm gonna do Command Shift X and then remove its effects because I don't need them. And then all I do is just transform it to where I need it to be. And with this, it basically be in the same exact place. Obviously it's not frame perfect. It's literally not frame perfect. It's kind of bothering me that it's not actually. Same thing. And then you go into the edit, boom, talking, whatever. I'm gonna just do the same thing for the rest of them that have this exact frame. All right, for the 3-hour time limit, I don't think it's gonna be that hard because it's just text and then it's just like a clock animation. Not a clock animation, but B-roll. Ooh, let me check if I have a clock animation B-roll thing. Clock? I have this one. Let me see this version that I have. Not that it's not my favorite. What I'm gonna do is, right, I'm not gonna make the exact same thing as he did, just because I feel like this version that I want to do might be a little cooler. Obviously, extremely subjective. Extremely subjective. With this effect, I think what I want to do with it, I want to give the background a bit of a blur. The original basically has just the clock zooming a little bit and then 3-hour time limit, right? Cool. It's not bad, but I think to make it a bit more dynamic, I'm gonna make this background blur. So then it's like more time. There's more things happening, because time could be really fast, it can feel really slow. It can feel a bunch of different ways. So what I want to do, let's do, I think it was light ray. Yeah, there you go. Because it has that white outline, which kind of makes it look messy, but helps because the background is dark and it has white and black. So in order for it to stand out, that white outline actually works to my advantage. So to make it look a little better, I'm putting this light ray glow effect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna amplify it a little more, and then I'm going to adjust the amount of glow, the radius. Yeah, I like that. Now let's see what else we need. Oh, there's this part where he says rest RIP Crispy, and I make this face. I think I'm gonna just have this, just that little segment. Oh my god, that's funny. In order to copy that grayscale effect that he has, I'm going to go into color and then just mute it out. He has his where everything is kind of like maxed out. What we're gonna do is go to transform, and then we're just gonna go to the X scale and just wow. I mess with that. And then he says RIP Crispy. So then it's RP Arturo. Is it the same text? No, it's not. You know what? That's fine. So these are gonna be basically the same as the other one. So let me just do that. I'm gonna use the same thing he had here, just because that's footage I would have gotten. So it's not an asset that I would have to recreate. So it will kind of be, you know, pointless for me to try to recreate something just, oh, cause I can't. It's like, no, bro, like you technically don't need to do that. That clearly from the edge, that's from YouTube. You search it up. You can obviously animate it by getting like a red arrow or whatever. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take this part where it's basically a zoomed in version of this. It's basically zooming into that right there. Yeah, all right. And then we're going to move it to the left. Make a compound clip. Center for this now is off, but is now circling around the thing. So I left this here and I moved it the way I did. So I can now circle around here smoothly. Now, because the animation was linear, and what I mean by linear, there was now smoothing in or smoothing out. It was just do the whole time. I'm going to now just make a marker here at the end, wherever that was. This one is here, and I'm gonna just move this up so I know, and then we're gonna just move this down. Simple. And now it's gonna move in the same exact path. Well, it's not in the exact same path, so we're gonna adjust it. It's in the same exact path, because now I have this here and I know exactly where it's gonna be. I'm going to just cut, and then cut, boom, boom. There you go. See? Simple, awesome, easy, not that hard at all. So if you wanted to do it, you could do that. My arrow's orange. So what I'm gonna have to do in order to change that, I'm going to have to go to color and adjust. No, color adjustments. I always get this confused. Color board. So let's say I wanted red right there. So I move these two markers, global and shadows. And then we're gonna copy this and then shift command V, and then just mess with option left click. And then we're just gonna mess with the color board, and it's all gonna be the same. Simple. And it looks super clean. I'm not gonna lie, looks smoother than the original, if I might add, because of the edges. My edges is nice. My edges is clean. Now that everything is done, everything is timed, and I have the arrow, I have the ending, everything is timed how it should be. I'm gonna look over his video one more time, just because I'm trying to get close. And then I'm gonna see what I'm missing, which I'm pretty sure is just music, visual touch-ups, and then sound effects, and that's it. There's this little point here where everything kind of clips. And mind you, I was watching at double speed. Usually when I'm going through an edit, I'll watch it at double speed just to kind of get a rough look. And because I watch everything at double speed, I'm so used to it. One, it saves time. But two, I see all those little micro stutters. It was a frame. It was literally one frame that was off in double speed. and you wouldn't really notice it, but because when you do it long enough, you'll be able to see things in double speed and you'll catch it. The problem with that is if you're watching TV, movie, even when I'm watching YouTube videos, I cannot watch anything without it being in double speed now, which is so annoying because things are super slow for me now. I'm like the Flash, bro. It's just so for the most part, everything is solid. Only thing is now is getting the music. I think the sound effects I'll do at the end just because it's not the most important thing in the world. And also I think he just uses a few songs, and when it comes to music, it's a timing thing. And honestly, there's things that I didn't know were like basically hacks on how to do music easily. I'm gonna show you the Walmart version. If you want to do it at the highest level, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time. But for most YouTubers, you do this simple version of it and you get a pretty good result, honestly. All right, so he used the Mario Galaxy, Gutsy Garden Galaxy. It's honestly a song that I hear him use a lot because I just watch his videos. I like his stuff. All right, so there's a part where the song goes, and then that's when he transitions. With YouTube videos or just like timing, with music, it's all about the timing and the crescendo and the fall off and the build up. And what I mean by that is this is a build up part right here. So when you hear that, your brain, it has certain expectations. So the way he uses it, look.
Reels bingo. We're back doing this challenge.
He uses it after the transition, which I don't like. I actually do want to test this out and see if it would be better if it was a little before, which is here. I think having it a little sooner probably would make it a little better. So let's actually try this.
Instagram Reels bingo. We're back.
You see, wait. That was kind of high, I ain't gonna lie. So he uses it and his editor, and I'm not throwing any shade. I do like the videos. I like how it's edited, but there can be some improvements. So when he uses it, right, the peak of that song, of that part of the song, happens after there's a transition, which is a hard cut, and it's in the middle of him talking, which it's not the worst thing in the world though, right? But here you have that expectation of when you're hearing that song,
Instagram Reels bingo. We're back.
and then when you hear that beat hit, transition happens, so it gives you that kind of like, it's a feeling. It's just like, oh, that's kind of clean. That's what that feeling is. It's just having things visually and audibly connect. So then when it happens, it's just like, oh, wait. So that's one change I want to do, and I want to have in this version. I want to have it, the audio where it's adjusting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna option click on where I want it to adjust, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have one in the beginning and one at the peak, and I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. I want it to be a little gradual because you obviously want to hear me speak, but you also want to hear that beat hit, and I want that beat hit to sound, so then when the transition happens, it's audible, right? But also I don't want it to overpower what I'm saying. All right, but then once it hits, I'm gonna then bring it back down. With music, you either want it to be the focal point, be the main thing that you're hearing, or with music, you just want it to be a side character. You just want it to assist. You don't want it to take over. So, you know what I'm saying? So with music, I just want that one part to really be emphasized. So then when the beat starts developing, I'm gonna go from 16 to 10 compared to what I had. This is basically like, it's its own version of fading in. So I faded in a little bit, and I also have it at 23 to 16, and it's gradual, but then 16 to 10, it's a lot like it goes up a little more, you know, but it's still not overstepping, right? So
Instagram Reels bingo. We're back doing this.
Oh wait, actually, let's bring it down a little bit maybe, and then bring the music up a bit, right?
Instagram Reels bingo. We're back doing this challenge again.
I like that. I like that. Actually, I do want to move the sound a little more back. Let me see.
Go. We're back doing this.
Sometimes with music and visuals, you want to have the beat a frame or two before the visual happens, because what happens is, even if it's technically frame perfect, your eyes can't catch up with what you hear as fast. So what you hear faster than you can see. You want the audio a little beforehand, because with your eyes and your ears, then that's how it matches up. But if you have the audio at the same time as your eyes, it's gonna sound like you're offbeat with technically you're not. For a viewer, for them to see and hear it visually where it hits and you're like, oh, you got that feeling like, damn, that was clean. You want the music a frame or two before the image pops up. So
Instagram Reels bingo. We're back doing this.
Boom. That was, I ain't gonna lie. That was heat. That was some heat. All right, so let me go back and let me just now adjust the music throughout the entire video of how he has it with a few minor tweaks. Now I need the sound effects. The sound effects, I ain't gonna lie, they use a bunch of sound effects in the beginning, which is crazy. I have to break down the kind of sounds that he uses because like, yo, bro, I'm not gonna lie, man. Some of those sounds, I don't even know where I could find them. I'm gonna try to find them, and if I can't, I'll use kind of different ones, but I want to try to keep it on brand. But we're almost done, honestly. So the first one is a cinematic boom.
Bingo. We're back doing this challenge.
And then he used a riser. I don't know what, dude, I swear that sound like, I don't know what that is. Off the top of the dome, I cannot remember what, because look, if you go back to his video, right?
Instagram Reels Bingo.
He has like the, I'm a try riser. I think I have it. Yo, dude, I don't, you know what? Just because that's the thing with some of these things, you have to know what the name is. With some sound effects, I'll know the name just because I've used them for so long, but that one I'd have to actually be told it or just find it, because it's hard to like find a sound like that. So what I'm gonna do, which I don't like doing, I'm gonna use a different sound effect, which this is a technique that I like using a lot. All right, so you see this? I'm going to Command 7 because, wait, no, Command 7, is it Shift 7? Okay, so what I did was I made a keyboard shortcut preset. When I use certain sounds, I'll reverse it so that it has a different effect. So with this ding, it's, I think the Taco Bell ding or whatever.
Bingo. We're back.
It's a ding in reverse that turns into a riser, develops anticipation. But the thing is, I have to use this as a replacement for what I tried to use because I don't know where it is. So for this one, I have to just adjust the volume and just put it in. I don't like doing that. I don't like making the replacement just because it's not something that I think he uses that often in comparison to the other sound. But also I have to make adjustments because there's some things that I'm just not gonna be able to do unless I'm showed it. I'm gonna just slowly, little by little, find and implement the sound effects for the video mostly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just cut in to this, have it centered, and also what he does is actually kind of cool. Actually, how did he do that? Because he's like obviously slowly zooming in, and it's like, damn, I actually might be stumped. Damn, how did he do that? So for this, I'm having the illest trouble because with his version, he's just coming in like this. I ain't gonna lie to you, why is that throwing me off so much? Because it doesn't seem like it's that hard of a thing to do, but I'm not understanding how he did it. When it comes to editing, since I've been doing it long enough, if I look at something, because of all the experience that I have, I can look at it and be like, okay, this is how I would do this. Let me try this. And honestly, I'm kind of stumped on how his editor actually did this. Because obviously, in my mind, I think, okay, I'll just get a mask. I'll crop it in the same way, obviously zoom it in slightly. But the thing is, when I bring the mask up, it's getting that vignetting, right? But the thing is, he made it so only this part was like, only that one box was kind of like had the spotlight, which I'm like, yo, I don't know how he's doing that. So another workaround, so I can kind of get the same thing, but kind of do it stylistically, would be this. Would have like a focus area, right? So it's getting that vignetting. It's not the exact same how he did it. It's not an exact spotlight, which is kind of bothering me, but this is my workaround. Have everything slightly blurred, so like around 16, like this. You can see the width and the height and everything. And it's now, since the softness is all the way down, I can see exactly where that little circle is. So now I have it where I want it. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna adjust the softness, right? Perfect. Now the softness and the amount I'm gonna adjust. So what I did here is, in the beginning for the mask, in order to get the kind of, not the same effect, but a similar effect, that spotlighting, I got the mask and then I started off big and then I started off big and then I got to a certain point with this keyframe right here and then boom. Now the spotlight is like, okay, now I'm focusing on what I want to focus on, but everything in the surrounding area is still within focus. It's like not blurred, because in order for the human eye to focus on something, it needs something to not focus on. Now having this like kind of shading and shadow effect on the edges, it allows you to focus on the brighter part more. But there's still a little brightness with the faces and everything in different colors. So in order to emphasize the zero likes even more, you have this effect, the focus effect. Now it kind of combines both of them together. And another thing to do also is actually like bleed out the color, like not completely, but like slightly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set for the color wheels, I'm gonna do a keyframe. Then I'm on this marker, on this adjustment clip, I'm gonna then bring the color down slightly, yeah, like slightly, and then have it also gradually at the end even more. So then all you're really focused on is what I want them to focus on. So it's kind of the same effect without it being the same. So now what you're more focused on is the 0 likes because it's the clearest, it's the brightest, and it's in center. So then it kind of gives the same effect as the spotlight, but with a different approach to it. What I'm gonna do is now is go through it and just get all the zoom in. So like there's certain parts where it's just slowly pan zooming. So I'm just gonna fix all of that. If you have an adjustment clip that's doing zooms and you have, let's say, text under, this text will be affected by that zoom. So you see how I cut in and the text is about to get cut off? You don't want that. So in order to kind of not have that happen, you have the text over the adjustment clip. So then the only thing that's gonna be affected when you have adjustment clips is everything under it, not everything above it. Everything above it it's not gonna get affected. So if you have any effects on adjustment layers, it's gonna just be affected by down. So if you have text like this and you don't want it to like move or in its position, you just have it on top and it makes it really easy. All right, I exported it, I got it, and this is the final version. 3, 2, 1.
Instagram Reels Bingo. We're back doing this challenge again, but this time I have to mark off the entire board. This is the hardest and most challenging and most difficult board yet. There's literally a space that says 0 likes. I've literally never seen that in my entire life. Let's see if I can even complete this challenge. I'm giving myself a 3-hour time limit, and if I don't complete it after the 3 hours, I will literally jump off a building. There's literally a building in Las Vegas that you can strap yourself onto and jump off the top of it. And it's one of the scariest things imaginable. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I have no choice but to beat this challenge. And this timer is gonna start as soon as I click this little Reels button, baby. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
That was pretty clean. That was pretty clean. Granted, I'm gonna have the original video in the description just so you can compare it. But I think from the original, this should be pretty close. And if any of you wanna work with somebody like Crispy or has a style like this, honestly, doing what I did is one way to kind of either get their attention by making a video, you know, and have the, you know, email or Discord in the description. So if people want to, you know, hit you up, you know, it's an idea. It's just an idea. But yeah, it's honestly not that hard to copy their style and be able to make a video that, you know, that gets like over 1 million views. It's not that hard. It's just a skill issue. If you are trying to get jobs like this, honestly, remaking somebody's video like this is one way to show your skills. Honestly, it's not bad. And posting it on Twitter or something, you know, let me know if you guys thought I did a good job, you know, just let me know.